While we're get, while we're getting set up, do the students that are here that are joining us from around the world, if you want to drop into chat where you're joining us from, that would be really interesting to see as well as we're doing our introductions.
Yes, thank you so much, Jen. I'll begin with myself. I am Dipali Shah. I work as a recruiter as the Assistant Director of International Student Recruitment with Foothill and De Anza colleges, helping students in the regions of South Asia. Welcome to the session. Uh, Jen, do you want to go next?
Sure, I'll turn my screen on. Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us today. My name is Jennifer Brooke. I'm the Interim Executive Director of International Student Programs for both Foothill College and De Anza College. And we're so lucky that you're joining us here. And I hope this is a good session for you to hear more from our students. And we certainly welcome your questions and hope you enjoy. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Jen. I also have Menglin and Lynn who are going to help me in this session today. So, Menglin, do you want to introduce yourself? You're on mute. Hi, Menglin.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whichever part of the world you are tuning from. My name is Mangling Cho. I'm the program coordinator at the Foothill International Student Programs. And I normally work with current students on activities, events, and workshops, as well as health insurance issues. I'm so excited to introduce you our college and the Silicon Valley today, along with my amazing colleagues and our students. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Lynn, do you want to go next? We have Lynn with us.
Okay, now I got unmuted. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Lynn, and I am the program coordinator at the ISP office. I'm mainly in charge of the creating events and activities for our international students, and I'm also overseeing all the ISP social media channels. And thank you so much for joining the event, and hope you guys will enjoy it. Thank you.
All right. We also have a few of our other colleagues from International Students Programs. So I'd invite Greg to introduce himself. Greg, do you want to introduce yourself? You can just unmute.
Muted. Hi, everyone. I'm delighted to be with you again and see so many of you here to see what it's like studying in California, in Silicon Valley, and on our two really beautiful campuses. I'm particularly work with students coming from Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, Brunei, from Southeast Asia in general, and look forward to meeting you all in person one day. Thanks for attending.
Thank you. George, I know you're with us. Can you please also unmute and introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. At least it's morning in California. So my name is George Beers. I've been with Foothill and De Anza for a long time, helping international students to come from all over the world. And right now I'm really helping students who are coming from Latin America. So I'm really happy that you're here this morning and looking forward to anything that I can do to help those students from Latin America to choose to come to the US.
Thank you, George. Andy, do you want to go? And then we'll begin. So this is Andy. Hi, Andy. You can unmute and Andy, we can't hear you. Okay, I think that's fine.
Yeah, he can introduce himself in chat, I think. Andy is our colleague who works with students mostly in China. So thank you for joining, Andy. He's your contact.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Jen. All right, I'm going to begin. So once again, thank you everyone for joining. And I'm going to quickly run you through the session goals for today. So we're going to mainly talk about the top reasons why students choose Foothill and De Anza colleges. And I'm also going to tell you a little bit about community colleges because we may have some students who've not already started applying and are still considering their options and would like to know a little bit about community colleges. We're then going to talk a little bit about housing options, because sometimes when students are in the midst of applying, they want to understand about housing options. As we all know, most community colleges do not have on-campus housing, but we still support our students on that front. We will be taking you to the link where you can find the application form as well as the admission requirements. And then we're going to hand over to a lovely panel of our current students who will introduce themselves and answer questions. So let me begin. All right, so first let's understand what community colleges are really quickly, so that those who are not aware or have just heard a little bit get a little more clarity. So community colleges in the US are 2-year public institutions where you can do the first 2 years of your undergraduate program, that's your bachelor's degree program, at a very affordable cost compared to universities and with a lot of support. In the third year, then you will when it's time to go to the third year, you will transfer directly into the third year of a university, and you can transfer to any university in the US or even look at universities outside the US to complete your last 2 years. At the end of the fourth year, you still get your bachelor's degree from the transfer university. So it's still the same degree, it's still 4 years, but the format is 2+2. And there are a lot of advantages or benefits of attending the first 2 years of your undergraduate program at a community college. Today, I'm going to quickly tell you what are the top reasons that students choose to begin their undergraduate program at Foothill College or De Anza colleges, because we are two community colleges. One reason that I love to hear from students is about the location. So both Foothill and De Anza are located in the lovely Silicon Valley, very close to San Francisco in California. So you're going to be living and studying in the Silicon Valley, surrounded by the top 6,000 companies of the world. So you have a lot of opportunities for networking, internships, research. The weather is superb and it's a very safe place. Also, community colleges offer you an associate's degree. So this is a degree which you can opt to take between high school and bachelor's. With this additional degree, you can work for 1 year full-time on optional practical training, that's the OPT, before transferring. It's optional. By doing a few extra classes, you can choose to do the associate's degree, though it is not always mandatory. Well, the third reason, and this is, I think, the most favorite reason for students and parents. So parents, if you're in the webinar, you're going to love this one. Community colleges are very affordable compared to most universities in the US. At Foothill College and De Anza College, our international annual tuition is only around $8,500. Yeah, you heard me right. And the overall cost of attendance, which includes living, tuition, insurance, everything, is estimated at around $27,182. Still lesser than most 4-year universities, which are in the range of 30, 40, 50, or even $60,000 sometimes. So you still study university level classes in these 2 years with us, because the first 2 years of your bachelor's degree program in the US are mainly the general education or foundation classes that make almost 50% of your bachelor's degree. They're transferable classes and they're off the university level. Well, the next reason is my personal favorite. In most cases, it is easier to transfer to top universities after 2 years at a community college than it is to go directly in the first year after high school. Foothill and De Anza are ranked #1 for transfers to the University of California campuses. We have 130 agreements of transfers. We have guaranteed and preferred transfers. You are in absolute safe hands. As long as you pass, you know you're transferring. And last but not the least, community colleges like Foothill and De Anza are known for support and flexibility. All our classes are taught by faculty, by professors, and not teaching assistants. And our class sizes are very small compared to most big public universities in the US. So you have more access to your professors, international counselors who help you with your study plans. You can sit at a student success center, work in your weak areas. So with this right support, the entire transition from your home country to the US just gets better. With that, I know students do also want to learn about housing. Like most community colleges, we do not have on-campus housing, but we support you on that front. So I'm now going to invite my colleague Lynn, who's going to speak a little bit about housing.
Sure. Yes, so like most community college, De Anza College and Foothill College does not operate dormitories. So most students look for apartments and houses to rent in the area around the campus. So there is a private company called International Students Placement, which arranges homestays with local residents who let students stay in their own house for a fee. Also, additionally, De Anza College has a Facebook group available for students to sharing housing information. The group is a very good way to connect with other international students. You can find listings that are posted by other students, and you can post your own ads with the group. And more information are available via this two link listed on the screen.
Thank you so much, Lynn. That was really helpful. So we do support you to find homestay as well as shared apartments are your options. So there is a lot of support. We've tied up with international student placements, and you're not alone in this journey. Well, I'm now going to quickly, before handing over to my students, I'm going to now take you to our website and show you where you can find relevant information as an international student aspiring to join Foothill College or De Anza. So that's the website, and we will post links on chat so you can save them to your desktop. But our international website is international.fhda.edu. That's Foothill De Anza, fhda.edu. I'm going to quickly click on this. Just give it a couple of seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and it's up. Zoom is really working well. Okay, I hope you can see the website. So this is the international website, international.fhda.edu. You can click on apply now and start an international
Excuse me,
application.
Dipali ma'am.
Yeah.
I think I'm not able to see the website. I think you have to share the other window.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Fair enough. I'm going to share another week. Thank you for pointing that out, Arushi. And she's one of our student panelists. So is it visible now, Arushi? Okay, thank you. So this is our website, international.fhda.edu. You can click here on admission requirements and then go to the entire list of, requirements for admission. So you can see what all you need to submit, and also if you're applicable for an English proficiency waiver. So that's where you see our admission requirements. If you want to know more about why students want to study at Foothill College or De Anza College, click on why study at Foothill or De Anza. And you can also download the brochure from here. Just click on this download arrow, and we will again put up the link to our downloadable brochure on chat. Last but not the least, if you want to go to Foothill College or De Anza College, you can go from here directly to the website of Foothill or De Anza. But this is the most important, apply now. If you click on apply now, this is where you will make an application as an international student. So if you are somebody who's not already started this amazing journey that awaits you, click here on create an account and get started. But if you are somebody who's in the process of completing your application, by the way, our fall 21 application is still open, and we're accepting applications until the 31st of July. Post that, we will consider case-by-case basis, but we highly recommend you apply before 31st July so that you have full access to courses and more. Now, if you're somebody who started the process but not completed it, you've got to click on returning users and not first-time users. So I hope that's clear. Sometimes students also ask about our intakes. So we have 3 intakes, winter, spring, and fall. The deadlines are mentioned right below the link to the form. And if you scroll further down, this is the bifurcation of our international cost of attendance, just for reference. I hope that was helpful. And let me now go back to the presentation and share a good news with you all. So we have waived off our fall 21 and winter 22 application fee of $75. So you don't need to wait anymore to send us your application. With that, I now invite my lovely panel of students who are our current students at Foothill and De Anza to quickly introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. So, Arushi, over to you.
Thank you, Dipali ma'am, and thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Arushi Sharma. I'm from India, and I'm a rising junior. So I completed 2 years at De Anza. I earned an associate's in computer science, and I'll be transferring to UC Berkeley next fall.
Thank you, Arushi. Evanis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Evanes Nguyen. I am from Vietnam. I am a graphic design major at Foothill College, and I just finished my first year here.
Thank you for joining us, Evanis. Lucy, over to you.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Lucy. I'm from the UK. I'm a communications and graphic design assistant at Foothill and De Anza, and I'm also studying at Foothill College.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Arushi, Evanis, and Lucy for joining us. My colleague Menglin will now start with a round of questions to our dear students. And after these questions, we will open the chat box for you all to ask questions and our students to address. So Menglin, over to you.
Yeah, so let's start with the first question. Why did you choose to begin your undergraduate education at Foothill or De Anza? Can you please share your top 3 reasons? Arushi, would you like to go first?
Of course. So for me, my topmost reason was I really wanted to get into UC Berkeley. That was my dream school since forever. And when I heard about the transfer pathways at De Anza and how the counselors support you if you're trying to transfer to Berkeley or any UC for the matter of fact, I felt that was like a second shot to my dream university. And I decided to go ahead with De Anza.
Thank you, Arushi. Lucy, would you like to share your top 3 reasons?
So I can actually tell my story. So I used to be an au pair for 2 years in this area. And during that time, I took classes at De Anza for computer science. I really enjoyed it, and I knew I wanted to study in California after working as an au pair. So I enrolled whilst I was still in the area, and I was great with lots of support, and a lot of people helped me through the process, which made it a lot easier. Oh, amazing. Nice. Other au pairs are on the chat too.
What about you, Evanes?
Yeah, I don't know if I have 3 reasons. I actually already have a bachelor's degree in neuroscience and history, but then I got sort of tired of the academia, so I decided I want to explore my other interest in art and design. So I decided to enroll in Foothill, and it was a lot of, I really enjoyed the liberty of choosing my own path towards graduation or transfer, choosing my own classes and all of that. So I chose Foothill.
Wonderful. Thank you, Evanes. And we'll start our second question, which is, how was your experience with on-campus classes, online or hybrid classes? And since we have been online for almost a year and a half, did you face challenges with online classes? How did you overcome these challenges? Evanes, can you share your experience with us?
Yeah, I'm actually really familiar with online classes. And I think even though the biggest challenge was that most other students and professors are not used to it yet. So sometimes it's hard to know how to organize class activities or discussions so that everybody gets a chance to talk and show their work. But otherwise, people are enthusiastic and it's been very nice. It's also great that I can uh, do my assignments and send them in at my own pace most of the time, so I can have more flexibility with scheduling my timeline during the week.
Thank you. What about you, Lucy?
I keep muting myself. So when I started, I could only do virtual classes because of COVID. But my classes were really interesting and my professors made the transition a lot easier. And they managed to reduce the stress levels and bring all the stress levels down so everyone could have a really enjoyable quarter. So yeah, I can really thank my professors and all my support for that, to bring all the stress levels down during virtual classes.
Thank you. Arushi, would you like to add any points?
Yeah, I totally agree with both Lucy and Evanes. And one thing I'd like to add over here is the small class size really helped with the transition, especially during the spring quarter when everyone was trying to figure out how will online classes work. It was easier to communicate with their professors because they're only handling 40 students, whereas a professor at university is responding to up to 200 emails. So yeah, I'd say that's like one of the biggest benefits of enrolling yourself in a community college, especially during COVID-19.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Moving on, can you talk about the support available for international students? Maybe in tutoring, the ISP office, or any other department on campus? Let's start with Lucy.
On the third question, so 1 second. Do you want to pass it over to someone else for 1 second? Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties on my end.
Sure.
Sorry.
No worries. Arushi?
Yeah, so for De Anza College, I know we have an entire office dedicated to international students. We have specific counselors who are quite well versed with the kind of education you receive back in your home country because the patterns are so different. So that was something which I was genuinely worried about when I first started classes. I did not know how I'm going to make that transition, but just because they had that knowledge, everything went smoothly. So in terms of support, I'd say it's pretty good at De Anza for sure.
I'm glad to hear that. Evanes, can you talk about the support you have received from our colleges?
Yeah, very simple. They answered emails very quickly, and the office also has office hours that you can drop in or just call them, which is really great compared to many other universities that I've dealt with. So
Thank you. Lucy, would you like to add anything?
Yes, sorry. So before I started classes, I had a counseling session with one of the counselors who helped me decide which degree I would focus on and what was best for my future goals personally. And I'd spoke with the same counselor many times, and we ended up making a plan on DegreeWorks, which is one of the apps on my portal. And it made it a lot easier. And again, it reduced the stress as I knew which classes I could take, and it helped me plan which classes I could take for which quarter during the course of the year. So
Amazing. Thank you for sharing the support you have received and your personal experience with the campuses. Now we are gonna move on to the next series of questions. And Ling,
Yes. The next question would be, how did you get involved virtually or in person on campus or off campus? Did you do an internship? Did you work on campus or join any organizations or any students clubs? Ayushi, do you want to start first?
Yeah, so my experience with clubs and other organizations on campus was really delightful. I was a part of the Women in Computer Science Club, and I also worked for the Student Senate. And it's the best way to learn more about the opportunities you have, build your portfolio for your transfer, and also just get to know people on campus and in the surrounding area, because you also get involved with the community around your college. Um, as of now, I know because we're in person, things might be different, but most of the clubs are active. They have virtual meetings, and De Anza actually has about 80 clubs, and you can also create your own club. So if anyone's willing to start something of their own, it's a really good opportunity.
Thank you for sharing. How about you, Lucy? What do you feel?
Shortly after starting, I got a job as a graphic design and communications assistant at Foothill College, which was amazing. And I really enjoy the work as I'm able to work in graphic design components, which is also something that I really enjoy. And I also get to work with social media aspects for both Foothill and De Anza to engage with students who also want to enroll into the college and give my experiences. So yeah, there's lots of different aspects of work that you can get involved in both colleges.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. How about you, Evanis?
Yeah, I'm actually a student ambassador for the International Students Program. So that's how I got to connect with a lot of clubs and new students and communities on at Foothill. I would really recommend if you're international students to look at the different clubs that there are, such as the International Students Connection Club, which is amazing support of and completely run by other students for international students. And in during the school year, during the quarter, we do fun events like movie night, board game nights and stuff like that, and it's a really nice place to hang out and chat about student life and just have fun and get to know other people.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yes, attending events and joining clubs always a good way to know some new friends. And the second question is, where did you live, or where do you live? Did you take any help from ISP for homestay or students shared apartments? Arisha, do you want to start first?
So for me, I did have a relative living in Cupertino, so that kind of helped me out. So yeah.
How about you, Lucy?
When I was au pairing, I made a lot of friendly connections whilst I was here. And it made it a lot easier for me personally to find accommodation after deciding to come back to study, because I was staying with a host family previously. And I currently stay with a friend now. But for me, it was easier because I'd made connections.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. How about you, Ivanis?
Yeah, I already was living with my friend in actually pretty close to campus. So
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And what is your favorite things about living in Silicon Valley or California? How do you guys feel? Arushi, do you want to start it first?
So my favorite thing about Silicon Valley is definitely the people and also the weather. So when I say people, I mean you get to meet so many interesting people. Somebody has their own startup, or somebody is working on this amazing research paper. So a lot of intellectual people, a lot of people are focused on academics, and it's a really nice, healthy environment. And of course, the weather. It's sunny all around the year. So if you're a person who loves the outdoors, it's amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I like the sunshine in California. How about you, Lucy? What do you feel? Do you like the weather here?
Weather is really amazing. I'm used to UK weather, so the sun is very good over here.
Yeah.
I personally really like the hiking trails, the beaches in Santa Cruz, and there's a lot of culture to a lot of the restaurants around here as well. And there's a lot of downtown areas like San Jose, Mountain View, and Campbell, and they provide a lot of different restaurants and all sorts of things.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. How about you, Ulanis?
I would have to say the vibrant food scene. You can find a lot of different cuisines in this area. So really nice Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Indian, Pakistani, Nepali, um, Oaxaca, Mexican. So many different good restaurants to explore, and the public transportation is really good compared to other U.S. areas. There is the Caltrain, ETA, and if you go to the north or San Francisco area, there's the BART system. And you only need one form of payment for most of them. And most of the areas and cities here are very walkable or bikeable. I have a biking trail and hiking trail right behind my apartment complex that every time I need a hike, I just go there. So if you like the outdoors, you like walking, biking, it's a great area to live. There's so many beautiful hills and mountains to hike. And we also buy the water side. So if you like seafood or just being near lakes or the beach, the sea, you can very easily go there.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
All right, we can move to the next set of questions. Manglan, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Ling, and our panelists. And I just want to say that I saw some great questions in the chat. And don't worry, we only have 4 more questions, and we will have enough time for Q&A. Yeah. So moving on to our next question. This is probably mainly for Arushi. Where are you transferring to, and how is the transfer support?
So I'm transferring to University of California, Berkeley. I'll be starting next fall. In terms of transfer support, I'd say it was definitely the best. They have an entire transfer center dedicated to answering questions or any sort of transfer queries you might have. Even before I transferred, or even when I was just like trying to figure things out, I got a chance to meet with the representative from UC Berkeley. And I actually sat down with him and we discussed the courses I was planning to take, whether they are transferable, how would they help me in terms of selecting my major at Berkeley. So for sure, just because of the fact that so many transfer students go on and continue their studies at different UCs or different colleges in California, there's a very good structure already established, a good pipeline from community colleges to public universities, which helps you. You can build off the experience of other students. You can also look at transfer portfolios and just try to figure out what can you do based off what others have already done. So that's definitely one of the biggest factors why this is such a great and successful way to get into your dream university.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing here, Meghlan. Sorry, I couldn't resist. While most of our students like to and transfer to University of California, the UC campuses, or California State University, CSUs, we have students that also transfer to other states of USA other than California. It could be in Arizona, it could be in Texas, it could be in Michigan. So the doors are open. And we also have had students that are now transferring to Canada and Germany. So we have students going to New York University, Boston, Georgia Tech, Michigan Ann Arbor, University of um, Texas, Austin, and the list goes on and on. So we have that entire list of universities where our students have transferred on our brochure, and we will put that up on the chat. Just wanted to add this.
Yes, the transfer program is indeed amazing. I was also an international student at a community college, and I also took advantage of the transfer program to transfer to UC Berkeley. And Foothill and De Anza do have really strong transfer support. So once I always recommend students to utilize the resources. Lucy, would you like to share with us if you have already got the chance to explore the transfer support on campus?
I've only actually been here for one semester, so I've actually not had the chance to look at transfer support yet, but I will be doing that soon. That's my next step.
Wonderful. Avanas?
Yeah, I actually don't plan to transfer anywhere, so I can't answer this question.
No worries. Let's move on. How is the current situation after COVID? Are things opening up in Silicon Valley or California? Lucy, would you like to share with us?
Sure. So personally, I'm in Sunnyvale, which is one of the areas around the Bay Area, and I think things are slowly returning back to normal. There are less masks being worn if you're fully vaccinated. However, if you feel more comfortable wearing a mask, people are also very accepting around here. Restaurants, bars, indoor and outdoor activities are also opening back up, and vaccines are also available in the college for returning students and students who are being enrolled. Vaccines are also available there too.
Thank you. That's amazing. Arushi, would you like to add anything?
I think Lucy covered all points very well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Next, what are the two things you found the most helpful and enjoyed as a student at Foothill or De Anza? Avanas?
I really like the My Portal system that which is very efficient and basically meets all of my needs as a student without having to physically be on campus. And secondly, I have been really enjoying my classes. Well, I'm a graphic design major, so it's mostly design and art classes. I find that they really allowed me to express my creativity, and I am able to put a lot of work that I'm proud of into that.
Thank you for sharing, Avanas. Lucy, what are the two things you like?
I also think My Portal is an amazing feature. It really helped me because it has degree works on it, which is really helpful to plan your future career and what you want to do after you leave college. And then the second thing is I just think the staff in general are very supportive. The classes, the professors, the counselors, everybody made it very easy for me to transition to college after working for 2 years. And yeah, I found it really easy to transition into Foothill afterwards. So those are my two favorite things.
Thank you for sharing. Arushi?
For me, I really found the Student Success Center helpful because not only was I able to work as a tutor there and interact with so many students, but I also built a really nice community of students who would, discuss concepts with each other, discuss their future goals, and just that support system when it comes to academics, which can be quite rigorous at times, was super, super amazing at the Student Success Center. Other than that, I also really enjoyed hanging out in the library. It's a really quite nice place. So one of my favorite spots on campus for sure.
Thank you for sharing. Do you have any specific tips you would like to share with students? Evanes?
Yes, so whatever you need to do, be it buy a parking ticket or find your textbooks, most likely my portal has that function. And you can ask one of the staff member about it. And secondly, don't be too nervous about classes and your grades. Try to enjoy your time at college because there's a lot to explore and experience in this area that will be very valuable beyond the classroom.
Thank you, Evanes. Arushi, would you like to share with us your tips?
I'd say don't be afraid to ask questions. As I mentioned, the counselors are really supportive. People at the transfer center are supportive. So if you have anything, any concern, make sure you go out, ask people, talk to people about it, and you'll realize that there's so many people going through the same thing, and everyone is so helpful and supportive. And secondly, I'd say enjoy your time at De Anza. It's an amazing campus. Enjoy your time at Foothill. I've known some really good people who are at Foothill, and just try to get involved with as many things as possible and make the best out of it.
Thank you, Arushi. That's really encouraging. Lucy, would you like to share with us your tips?
I would say definitely reach out to a counselor if you feel like you're struggling. I know it can definitely be hard when you first start and you're trying to find your way through my portal and all the different classes. And sometimes you may want to change career paths even. So if that gets stressful, definitely reach out to a counselor and they can help you. And my second tip would be to try and just look through all the apps on my portal because they are so helpful. They really helped me personally, especially DegreeWorks. That definitely helped me plan all the classes that I wanted to take. So I haven't actually been into the campus yet, but those would definitely be my 2 tips to help.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lucy. Now we're gonna Dipali, can you take over? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now we're going to open to questions. But just before we take questions, I just wanted to make an announcement. Our fall 21 classes are going to be, you have 3 options. You can either come and do it in person or hybrid, or you can do it online from your home country. So we have all the 3 options, in person, hybrid, as well as online. And now what you can see on the screen is if you have a camera of your phone, you can actually scan the barcode and go straight to our brochure. And we're going to share the link of the downloadable brochure as well. But this is the email ID where you can write to us should you have questions. I highly recommend you follow us on our social media handles. Instagram is where you can actually see pictures and updates. So go follow us on Instagram. And the website is again listed there, international.fhda.edu. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to take a picture or print screen this. So let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I hope you took a screenshot or a picture of this. And with this, I'm going to stop my screen share and open to questions. So if you have any questions and you put it up on chat, my team and I are going to take those questions and our students will answer them. Thank you very much for joining us. And let's go to the Q&A by our attendees. So is there any question that, that you'd like for me? Let me check.
We have students asking our student panelists to share more about housing, like what's the cost of it, and yeah, just talk a little bit more about housing.
Yeah, sure. So does anybody want to talk about housing? Evanis, Arushi, Lucy, anybody?
I
Okay.
can add a couple of points based on what my friends have experienced. So I know for a matter of fact, housing around the Foothill De Anza district is relatively easy to find, just because a lot of people, they rent out rooms or something for students. As Dipali ma'am mentioned, the De Anza helps you figure out housing. They have an entire wing dedicated to it, the homestay website and things like that. Other than that, one of the main points is it's a very safe district. So if you're even renting a house with some other family, or if it's just a house you're renting by yourself, be assured you're in a very safe area and there's not a lot of there are not a lot of things to worry about.
That's great. And I think I can invite my colleagues, maybe Jennifer, if she can speak a little bit about housing, because she is right there and even George is there. So Jen, do you want to add to this?
Sorry, I have some background noise going on, so maybe George wants to speak first and I can jump in.
Sure. George, do you want to talk a little bit about how easy is it to get housing? He comes with a lot of experience and he's right there in San Jose. George, you're on mute. You can unmute and talk to us.
Okay, I can unmute while George is figuring it out. Sorry, I have some background noise going on right as I was about to speak. But, in Silicon Valley and in California in general, housing is something that is around the same cost as it would be for any major city in the United States. So it's I wouldn't say it's necessarily affordable. However, there is currently quite a lot of housing available. What we tell most students, like I believe Arushi had just mentioned, that we highly recommend when you're first coming here, unless you have friends or family that are already in the area or in the Bay Area in California, that you take advantage of our homestay program or shared student accommodation, at least for the first quarter or two, until you make new friends, until you figure out how to use the public transit and know your way around. And then typically you have friends and connections where you can get your housing in a private apartment. That's what a majority of students do. And we do recommend the homestay because it's a safe place to go. It's already established. And the sooner you apply for the homestay, the better. Because the sooner you apply, the closer you'll be to the actual campus as well. So that's just something to keep in mind as you make your plans. And I think George has some more to add to that.
I would really just support what Jen just said about homestay, because I've had so many students that have had great connections and experiences with the local families. But we also understand that students really want independence. So it's a good way to have that in the beginning because it helps you to get settled. It oftentimes establishes a long relationship with the family. I've got a lot of students that I know whose host families have gone back to their home country, the students' home countries, and gone to weddings afterwards. So there's lifelong connections that happen. But then students really just use that generally for a few months, and then move into shared apartments with students, their friends, because you want some independence from families. You don't really need another set of parents in the long term, and that works really well. It's way too expensive here to be able to live alone. So it's important that students have the time to be able to make friends with people that they are comfortable with, that they want to live with. And then it works out very well to be able to share apartments. The apartments in this area are very upper middle class. They're very comfortable. They're very safe. So it's very easy to be able to do that.
Thank you. That was really informative. We have another question about finding a job on campus, and also find if we have any support for placements, probably internships or placements after the associate degree. Um, is there anyone who wants to talk about it? Lucy, you're working with us, so do you want to talk about it?
Which question did you want to look at? I'm reading
Well,
there's so many coming into
no,
the
that's
chat.
fine. That's fine. So it's about working part-time with us on campus or looking for an internship as well as looking for a job after the associate degree. Is there any help available?
Yeah, sure. There's definitely lots of help available, especially if you go onto the websites. They provide lots of different information which can provide you to which type of job that you'd like to go into. I was contacted for the job that I wanted to get, but before that, I was looking at on the Foothill website because that's where I'm studying at, and there was lots of different help available. If you did want to find a job, because I feel like that definitely helps you personally with personal spending money. But yeah, I working part-time is definitely beneficial, especially during the summer quarter, I feel, because it gives you something to do if you're not doing the any of the classes. But yeah, if you just look on the websites, there's lots of different information that's there to help you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wants to add? I know that one of my students from India, from Gujarat, was able to find an internship despite the pandemic. He was working online on Safari with Apple. And of course, you have opportunities for internships. They could be paid, they could be unpaid. You have opportunities for on-campus jobs, and you can also find a job after the associate's degree. We help you to make your LinkedIn profile. We prepare you for your interview. There's a lot of support available.
Yeah, there are internship classes that are set up, and even if you don't want a full internship, you're not ready for that. There's even classes that happen during the spring break. So you can have like a 5-day internship just to get a taste and get some experience and make some networking connections. So then if you want a longer internship later, you can do that too. So like Lucy said, and like you said, Dipali, there are a lot of opportunities available for these kind of connections.
Okay, there's another interesting question which says, what is the difference between an associate degree and transfer, as written on the website? And I know some students ask, what is the difference between associates for art and associates for science, like AAS and yeah. So is there somebody who can address that? George and Greg. I know we also have Greg with us. Madeline, Andy, anyone?
So I can answer the question. I mean, the associate degree for, associate of arts and associate of science mainly has to do with the subject area and the type of courses that create or make up your associate's degrees. So if they're mostly science-based courses, it's going to be most likely an associates of science. If they're more humanities, social sciences, arts, it's going to be an associate of arts degree. In terms of, the difference between transferring and the associate's degree, it's just that you can actually transfer to the university without the associate's degree. So there are, a set of courses that you need to take in order for mainly the University of California and Cal State system, but for some other universities as well. So there's a set list of courses that you will need to take in order to apply and actually transfer to those universities. As Arushi mentioned, and Lucy also, there is a lot of support to ensure that you're taking the correct classes, that you're on the right path and you're doing the correct thing. So you don't need to worry too much about that right now. But if you'd like to take additional courses, usually it's a few more courses, you can actually get the associate's degree as well. So it's really up to you. It's a personal preference, what you're interested in doing. I will say if you would like to work full-time before you move on to your bachelor's degree, You do need to have the associate's degree in order to do the optional practical training, the 1 year of work. But otherwise, you can transfer without that. And I would say a majority of our international students actually do transfer without the associate's degree. So again, it's your personal preference and to suit your own needs and your own goals and what you would like to do.
There's another interesting question, if anyone wants to take that, students, Arushi, Iridis, Lucy. Can you talk a little bit about student clubs and organizations and athletics? Do you have student clubs and organizations and athletics on campus at Foothill and De Anza? I know the answer is yes, we do, a lot of them, but have you experienced? Do you want to talk about it? Arushi, you were part of the computer science club. Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. So, yeah, I was actually the president of the Women in Computer Science Club at De Anza, and it was an amazing community of students working on projects in computer science. We also had guest speakers from the industry. We had an electrical engineer from NASA come in. We had a graduate student from Georgia Tech, and a lot of and someone who has worked on the space hyperloop. So a lot of interesting things, a lot of people from the industry coming in, interacting with students and just having, sharing their experiences. So in terms of clubs, I'd say you have a lot of options. For De Anza, you have clubs which are focused on academics, like WICS, the Women in Computer Science Club. And then you have also clubs which are more cultural. You have an Indian club, a Vietnamese club, and also clubs just for recreation, like an outdoor club and things like that. If you're interested in community work or something of that sort, you can join the Senate, the student government, or also just find an internship with one of the organizations which are doing amazing grassroots ground level work, like FAPAC and WIDA. So yeah, there are ample of opportunities.
Amazing. And I know there are many at Foothill as well. I know my students have joined the economics club at Foothill. There's the entrepreneurship club. There's a lot. There's an entire list. You can look up the website. I know students have also been asking about what athletics do we have on campus. So we literally have a lot. We have Olympic-sized swimming pools. We have the football club. We have hockey. And there's a list. You can definitely look that up on the website. We'll go to the next question, which is there any difference between the curriculum of a community college and a four-year university? How easy is it to adjust? Is the level of classes the same? Is anyone wants to talk about it? George, do you want to talk about it?
You're on mute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so the classes really are the same. One of the really big, important benefits of a community college is that from the very beginning, the governments where the community colleges are located ask the community colleges to work with the universities around them to be sure that the curriculum that we offer is the same as the curriculum at the university. So the content is the same, the standards are the same. Big benefit of the community college is that the classes are often smaller, so that even though it's the same course of studies, there's oftentimes a lot more support for students to be successful. So you can be sure that the classes that you take at the community college are going to be the same as at the university. You're going to develop skills in the same way, but you're going to have a lot more support because the classes are smaller and there's a lot more tutorial support on the campus, a lot more counseling support on the campus that helps you to be successful. So you can be sure that it's the same experience you're going to get at the university. It actually, for international students, becomes an easier way to transition into university studies in the US because it's such a supportive environment. So many students who've transferred to top universities, I have a friend who's an alum that transferred to MIT and then Michigan State, and he talks a lot about how he felt like coming from the Ivory Coast, very different place from the United States, and starting at the community college gave him a big boost to be able to be successful enough to be able to go to MIT and then on to his PhD in Michigan State. So it's a really good way to be able to start, and it's the same.
Thank you so much. And now there's a question on the transport. How is the transportation in the Silicon Valley? Evanis, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so I live in Mountain View, which is a neighboring city to Los Altos, where Foothill is. And we basically the campus is located in a cluster of smaller cities that are very easy to get from one to the other. There's basically no rural area or anything like that. There's the VTA, which includes buses and trams, light rail, and there's also the Caltrain, which takes you all the way up to San Francisco and to San Jose and the East Bay. And you need only the Clipper card to basically take the VTA and Caltrain. For Caltrain, you can buy monthly tickets or just a ticket for your specific trips. It's usually about $2.5 per trip for VTA. And for Caltrain, it's calculated based on the distance that you travel. And both of those you can do on their apps. It's very easy to purchase. You can either buy it on your phone or buy it at the ticket machines. So yeah, I really like how easy it is to travel using public transportation to the different cities and getting to visit all the different places. It's also a very bikeable area. So if you like biking, it's definitely worth taking a few weekends to explore all of that. It's also most of the downtown areas are very walkable. For example, right now, the Mountain View downtown area has been blocked off from cars, so it's only for pedestrians to walk around and explore. So yeah, even if you don't have a car, you can pretty much get everywhere very easily. The distribution of grocery stores and pharmacies and healthcare facilities is also great. You can pretty much walk to any of the stores or hospitals or anything else that you need.
Okay, there's another question about the vaccinations. You know, students want to know about the vaccines. So does anybody want to take that question? I also know that we have our other colleagues. Yeah, Jen, please answer this question. But we also have our other colleagues, Marilyn, Andy, and Greg, who are really proactive in answering questions on chat. So thank you. If I can request you all to put your videos on, I can bring you on spotlight. Evidence, we'd love to see you if possible. And if you can put your video on, we'd love to see you. Yeah, Jen, please go ahead.
Sure. So I'll answer the question regarding vaccinations. And this kind of goes hand in hand with another question I saw in chat regarding coming back to campus in person. So as Dipali mentioned a little bit earlier, this fall, we're going to have a variety of options for students. So you choose what is most comfortable for you. We will have courses back in person available on campus at both Foothill College and De Anza College. There will be some more sections at Foothill in person than at De Anza, but still available at both campuses. We also have the hybrid option where you might have a course that goes the entire quarter, but you might only meet in person 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 times on campus, and the rest of the class is online. And you would take that from your apartment or the library or somewhere else, not actually in the classroom. And then we have the option to study completely online with us again this fall. And that option is great for students who maybe aren't quite ready to travel in person to the US right now. Maybe you're not comfortable, or maybe you're unable to get a visa just because of the continuing restrictions. So you're still able to study with us, but you choose based upon what is most comfortable and what is the best option for you. in terms of vaccinations, so as of right now, we are not requiring students to be vaccinated in order to come to campus. However, with that said, we want to ensure that the campus is safe. I did mention we'll have some courses online or in person this fall. So with that in mind, it is very likely, just like the University of California and the California State University system and many other universities, that we will require vaccinations. So we want to prepare students for that likelihood. So what we do recommend at this point is that you get vaccinated, if possible, in your home country. And we will accept vaccines that are recognized by the WHO. And I know that covers many vaccines and many of the ones that you may have already gotten. I do understand that in many countries, it is very hard to get a vaccine appointment right now. That's also okay. If you cannot get vaccinated in your home country, you can come here to California and get the vaccine here. The vaccine in California and then the Bay Area where we're located is absolutely free. So you're not going to pay anything extra, anything of that nature, and it's readily available. You can even go to the grocery store. Essentially, there's a pharmacy inside, but you can go to the grocery store or the pharmacy, local pharmacy, and get your vaccine there. And in the Bay Area and in California, the vaccines that we do have are Pfizer, Moderna, and the Johnson & Johnson single shot. So you have a bit of a choice. So that's the update on vaccinations. We highly recommend it, and it's likely to be required in the future. I saw another good question. I want the students to chime in a little. So someone asked, what are the other expenses outside of housing and what do those look like? Lucy, Evanis, Rushi, do you want to talk about just some of the other things students should keep in mind when they're thinking about their budget for studying here?
I could answer that one. Personally, for me, I think personal spending is also very important. So you also want to keep some of whatever money you're bringing aside to pay for if you go out for a drink or if you go out for a meal, if you want to socialize with other people, and also groceries and shopping and food. Those are the two main important things that you should also think about when coming here financially. So those are my two things.
How much would you say you spend in a month on those extra things? Arishi, you too. What would you estimate you spend on food and all those extra expenses?
It depends. I guess it varies from week to week, but maybe about 100, 150 a week. That's on groceries and socializing. Personally, I think at the weekends, people spend more socializing, and then in the week, it's more for groceries. But yeah, I would definitely keep that in mind because food is very important. And going grocery shopping and keeping healthy is, yeah, that's important.
Rishi, is it about the same for you, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's about the same. And definitely, I think the other personal expenses, what you're using day to day. And other than that, I don't think so anything.
All right, these are some great questions. Let's check if there are a few more that we can take. But we also have a colleague, Madeline, here who'd like to introduce herself. Madeline, you're unmuted, so do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Yes, thank you all for coming today. It's such a great time to get together with our coming new students. My name is Marilyn Chung. I'm the Director of International Student Recruitment and Partner Relations. So I work closely with a group of fantastic people here that you see today. Yeah, and I'm so glad to see so many questions. Yeah, I'm sorry I was not able to join in on the conversation earlier because I was, first of all, I had another meeting at first half hour, and then I couldn't unmute. So, okay. Any questions for me? Please, yeah, let me know.
Okay, there's a question by a student, probably Marilyn and Greg and Auntie, you all can take this. And of course, our dear students, you're free to answer. Can a student do like two majors or a major and minor? And what's an elective?
Okay, shall I? Okay, okay. Yes. First of all, you will always choose something as your primary major. Okay, and at a community college, because your first 2 years you're basically doing your general education courses and the basic classes for your major. At this point, during your first 2 years, you don't need to select select a second major for a double major, or do a minor. But however, you could start taking classes in those areas. Okay, so that in the future, when you transfer to your university, that's where you will actually work with the university later on, and then on how to declare a second major, so you can do a double major, and that means you will graduate with 2 degrees. For example, if you want to do a major in accounting, and then another major in let's say IT, okay, information technology, then if you are able to do 2 double majors, then you will graduate with 2 degrees in both areas. Now, you can also do a major and a minor. That means you graduate with 1 degree in accounting, for example, but then you also want to focus on the IT with, by getting some good background courses in that. Yes, then that will be your minor, and you won't get a second degree in that minor, but you will show up at most schools. It will show up on your transcript that you did a minor. So yes, there are lots of flexibility in the U.S. education that allows students to really, pursue their interests.
I would just add that for those of you who are applying, we do require, at least we used to, that you put in a major. We do not have an undeclared or undecided, as some schools do, but do not worry, because it's very easy to change your mind. Not only does the American system offer a dual major, which is more work, and not everyone does a dual major. International students tend to be more likely to do a dual major than American students, I believe. So we have both that option and, as Marilyn mentioned, the major and minor, but don't worry about it. You have to put something down. If you change your mind a week later, it's quite all right. So changing your mind is one of the benefits of going to school in the United States and starting out in a community college. But when you're applying to us, and I think most of you are in that process now, you do have to put something down on the application form, but don't worry about it. If you're really undecided, you can change that.
That's a great piece of advice. We also had a student, and Jen has answered that, ask about scholarships. So the answer is we mainly give out scholarships in the second year based on your first year's performance. And if you do well in 2 years with us, there are a lot of universities that offer transfer scholarships. You need to work with your transfer counselor. We have a transfer center. So you need to work with them and inform them about your goal of transferring with the scholarships, and they try to do their best to help you. Also remember that we are more affordable than most universities in the US. So the real money that you spend in the third year after transfer, if you do well with us in 2 years, you could get a transfer scholarship. Okay, this is a very good question. If a student is fully vaccinated upon arrival, vaccine approved by WHO, I assume is the question, do you request him to do a 14 days quarantine? So does California have that rule?
So there are certain rules that are not mandated, but kind of suggested by the state of California and Santa Clara County, which is the county where we are located. So we request students to check on that before they arrive. We also, if you are a new incoming student, during your orientation sessions, the ISP staff will walk you through what the requirements are. But in terms of our campuses and returning to the campus itself, we do not have a policy about that at the moment. So as soon as there is anything in place, we will certainly let you know, so you are aware of that ahead of time. So again, if you are an incoming student for this fall, please be sure to attend orientation activities and the webinars that the staff like Mong Ling and Lynn are holding, and they'll give you more information on what the requirements are.
That's great. I think we're already more than 15 minutes over time. We can take a couple of questions more. So there's a question about an internship. So yeah, the answer is you can find an internship. It could either be paid or unpaid. It totally depends, but you can do an internship typically after your first year. You can work on campus with us in the first year itself. Well, there's another question that says, is it better to come to campus or do online? It's your choice. It's honestly your choice, whatever you're most comfortable with. Does anybody want to answer this question on campus versus online classes? You know, anyone?
Maybe Arushi or I think Arushi, you did both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so again, it's your personal choice, whatever is best for you. But if I were to do De Anza all over again, I would definitely opt for on-campus classes just because the campus is amazing and it's a wonderful experience. There are certain spots which I really miss, especially the library. So I'd suggest on campus.
Oh, yeah, that's very important. Jen, do you want to talk about the 30 days window before classes begin? And there's another question, can I do an orientation offline?
So for this fall, orientation activities are all virtual. There might be some in-person activities that happen throughout the quarter. So we're hoping that there'll be an opportunity for students to meet in person, to do some fun events. And so the information on that will be coming up. In terms of, for those students that are on this call, I know that there are some students that haven't applied yet, that are looking more into the future, into winter, but this is for fall only. So if you're coming this fall, you can arrive 30 days before classes start. So classes start on September 20th. So you should arrive between August 21st and September 20th. So that's your window. Obviously, it's better to arrive a little bit earlier. Don't come on September 19th or on September 20th because you might have to come to campus to get books. You might want to, explore the area a little bit more before you have to focus on your classes. So I recommend coming in a bit earlier, but that is the time window, 30 days before. And again, you'll be reminded about all these details during your orientation sessions in case you forget, because there's a lot of information.
There are a lot of students asking about the I-20. Does anybody want to talk about that? Marilyn, George, Greg, what is the process to apply for an I-20?
So if you are planning to come in person, so you only get an I-20 if you're coming in person to the United States. So if you are already an applicant and you would now like an I-20 to get your visa appointment, then you need to go back into your application and indicate that you would like an I-20 and ensure that you have your financial documents uploaded to your application. So once you've done all of that, and there's instructions in the application that you can follow, kind of a checklist. Once you've done all of that, it might take a week or two to hear back from our admissions people. So at De Anza College, that's Miss Angelica, and at Foothill College, it's Miss Haley. So right now it is very busy because many students are applying because the deadline is coming up soon. So please give it 1 to 2 weeks. And you will receive your I-20 and instructions electronically. You won't get a physical one in the mail anymore. So if you do have questions about your I-20, if you've done all those steps and haven't heard anything back, please feel free to email us and we'll help you with that.
Yeah, and I just want to add, when you're applying for your I-20, ensure that your study location on the study location form is indicated inside USA, because sometimes if you mark outside USA, it contradicts to the fact that you're applying for an I-20. And you also have to fill and upload the I-20 process request form, which is right there on your portal. So, okay, this is a great question. If I have to take a language class before formal courses, so the student wants to do an English language class, is there somebody, so what's the process, etc.? Can anyone answer?
Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, all students, even American students, okay, not just international students, need to take English classes, and because this is part of your overall study, your curriculum. Now, if you do plan to take English class during your first quarter, then you will need to go through assessment to determine what level of English classes or ESL classes you will start. Okay, so now TOEFL, IELTS, those are just English proficiency tests for admission purpose to see that you have at least the basic English language skills to study at a college. But however, in terms of deciding what English classes you'll be taking, every student will go through the assessment. And also and this is also, the English courses are also required by the universities when you transfer, because they will like to see, they do require students to complete certain level of English classes before they transfer.
Marilyn, this may be a question about summer classes. Maybe it says before formal courses. So you might want to speak to the availability of our English summer class program. Some people would like to perhaps do that, whether it's online or live. So I would go into that as well.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, okay, because what I interpret as a different, but we do have, at De Anza College, we do offer a summer intensive ESL course. Okay, this is for any students who would like to start with us on the academic program in the fall, but they feel that they need some, additional, training under English. And this is an 8-week program. We offer it every summer. So right now it's going on right now. Okay, but so if any students are thinking about next summer, sure, you're welcome to apply. And this is for students who did not quite meet our TOEFL, IELTS requirement. They're just a little bit below, that's all, because our TOEFL requirement is, for example, just give you a few of the English tests that we asked for. TOEFL is minimum 61, IELTS is 6.0, and Duolingo is 95. So if you are just a few points below, okay, we will still be able to offer you a chance to start in the fall. But you do need to start with our summer intensive ESL course first. So to bring yourself up to the higher level of English in order for you to start in the fall. But for those of you who met our requirement, you don't need a summer program, then yes, you can just, like I said earlier, take the assessment and then start with, English and ESL courses. You don't have to do this before you start your formal academic classes. You can be taking academic classes at the same time, whether it's art classes, business classes, so forth. But many of our classes do have either a prerequisite or advisory that students complete certain level of English classes before they can take that academic class. So that's something you will see in the description of each class that you are interested in taking. It is displayed in our catalog and in the class schedule.
Thank you. There's a very interesting question that has come up on private chat, and this is for all us, the 3 students with us, Arushi, Evanes, Lucy. Which is your favorite class? Which has been your favorite class? And, professor, you want to talk about a particular professor, the level of classes, the quality of classes. And another question that I really want to hear from y'all is, what do you think is going to be the right time for students to kind of start connecting with each other? Once they come on campus, or even like, do you think they should join our social media page or anything of that sort? But yeah, what is that favorite class of yours? Or you want to talk about a particular professor or the level of classes? We'd love to hear from you. So let's go one by one. Evanes, we can begin with you.
Yeah, my favorite class so far is definitely typography with Professor Eric. He's an amazing teacher who's very passionate about typography and typeset. And he also has decades of experience doing letter painting, and he actually has his own screen printing workshop that where he prints stuff for clients. So we get to see a lot of the work that he actually does for clients around the Bay Area. For example, sometimes he does window painting for a store, and you can actually go to Longhorn Restaurant in Sunnyvale, I think, and see the menu that he painted for them. It's beautiful. And it's a very creative class where just take inspiration from everything and apply it to your creativity to create fonts and typesets and layouts, posters and stuff like that. And it also has a very rich history in Western culture and attached to a lot of social movements and revolutions, and you can find examples everywhere. And it's definitely a very valuable skill to have if you're interested in any sort of design studies or career at all.
Great. Lucy, do you want to share?
I'd say one of my favorite professors is actually my previous statistics professor, Professor Morris. He sent us all an email beforehand telling us that he was going to reduce the stress level and make it as easy for us as we can during COVID. All his classes, he was so helpful. And actually, I would say like you make a lot of friends when you take the classes virtually, because you can share your socials or you can talk to each other, and like through that you actually get to know each other and could meet up through that. But yeah, even though it wasn't my major, statistics was one of the mandatory courses that I had to take. Professor Morris was actually really.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank you, Lucy. Arushi, what do you want to say about this?
So it's really hard to choose my favorite class, but I'd say the most enjoyable class was CS 22C. I had it with my club advisor, Professor Jennifer Parrish, and she's an amazing teacher. Make sure we get the right kind of industry experience. We worked on projects alongside a partner, so it was not boring at all. And it was definitely one of the most memorable experiences at De Anza.
With that lovely note, I mean, this is such an inspiring thing to listen to from students. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep in touch. We're here to help. One last time before we log off, let me share our email ID and give you this 5 seconds to take a picture. Here it is on the screen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Do join us on Instagram so that you can keep in touch, or write to us and visit our website. Good day, good night, take care.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining.